Hi, it's me, David.
And Azu from the Hobby Hangout Podcast.
Thanks for joining us today in another special video for the Family Day long weekend here in Canada. We've put together a couple of videos highlighting our groupings of game recommendations by different categories. This video here will focus on new gamers, games that you can introduce to friends and family that you'll be joining during your Family Day long weekend that maybe are new to board gaming. As we go over the game recommendations, we'll be highlighting on the screen the recommended age, the playtime, the number of players, and the approximate space a game takes based on our experience. We've kind of focused on the new player games is simpler rules, but also not a reliance on the ability to read. Not so much from the player's education level, but what this does is it opens up the avenue that you can play this literally with anyone, whether or not they speak the same language. It definitely opens up the ability to leverage these games in any environment, really. All right. So you want to kick us off with your first choice?
Okay, I'm going to go with the mind. So the first round, you get one card. Second round, you get two cards, and so on. What you have to do is, without talking to anyone, you have to place down your card in order from the lowest to the highest value. Now, of course, you're not talking to anyone, so you have to just kind of look at them and being like, do I think that I have the lowest value, and start playing it? This is a very friendly game for people that already know how to count, of course.
It's cooperative.
Yeah.
One of the reasons I do like it, obviously, it comes with this rule set and it's intended to play to 4 players, but it can very easily be scaled up. Obviously, you're not working towards points, but you can definitely play with a larger group and just have that challenge of, okay, can we get through that sequence with a larger group? I think the most I might have played it with was maybe around 12 people. And even just starting with that one card that everybody has. Is a bit of a challenge, right? You're trying to get through those numbers without messing up the order. So yeah, it's fun, especially when you're so close and then you make that one mistake.
Yeah. And each of the rounds plays fairly fast. And you also can potentially lose fairly fast. So
Yeah.
I feel like every time that we play it, we end up doing more than one attempt to go through as many rounds as possible.
I think I'll recommend Happy Salmon. I know I've mentioned it in a couple of other videos, but I think that's my top pick for me. It's just such a fast game. I think it's rated around 30 seconds to play a game. And the fact that you can play with so many people, I think it plays up to 8. It's such a great game to play with family and a group of friends, and get through so many rounds. And get a little bit of physical activity while you're playing it, because every time we play it, we just play it for more than one round to the point where you're sweating and out of breath and need to swap out with other people so that you can take a bit of a break.
Yeah, that one really makes you behave like a kid. There's only 4 types of cards, so 4 types of actions that you can take. So it's very easy to remember. The visuals help you identify what it is that you have to do, and they're very self-explanatory. You're yelling as loud as you can so that you can get the other person to pair up with you. Try to make eye contact with everyone at the same time to see who else matches the action that you're looking for. You do need a little bit of space. So as you're discarding your cards, you don't need the space for the cards themselves. But I would say that you need to keep a safe, clear space.
Safe space to run around. Yeah.
Yes, because you're going to have to run around and move around. And that's actually a great game to put in between other games as well to get you standing up and moving around for a little bit.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Back over to you.
Okay, so I'm going to go for...
Wait a minute. Do you want to do a little Happy Salmon?
Face bump.
Back to you.
All right, so Hand Wombat. This one is pretty cool. So there's different cards that will tell you if you're a good wombat or a bad one. And so basically what you're trying to do is that while you have a blindfold on, you have to make a tower. It requires you to touch bumps in order to know, is this the biggest piece or the smallest piece? So the biggest piece is going to have 6 bumps. One is going to have 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And so what you're trying to do if you're a good wombat is you're trying to make those 3 towers full from this piece to the smallest one. But then there's going to be the ones that are trying to break it apart or put pieces where they don't belong. And as people are being voted out, people thinking that you're the bad one, it's very enjoyable to see what everyone else is doing. And you have a lot of fun just watching it play out.
Watching the chaos.
Yes.
So for me, I'd like to highlight Rhino Hero, in particular the Rhino Hero Super Battle. What I like most about it is the tactile and the dexterity aspect of it, where you're trying to balance everything and build the city. As you're building it, you have that tension of, oh, is this piece going to knock everything over? And then if you manage to put it on, then you have the added stress of potentially having to move your person onto an unsteady level, right? Having to balance everything in that tension, almost similar to what you may feel when playing Jenga, holding your breath, making sure no one's shaking the table.
Mhm.
And then the excitement around the table that usually occurs when this tower starts hitting some real height where the slightest breath might knock this thing over.
Yeah, and even though you're trying to win for yourself, I think that at some point you start cheering up the rest of the people that you're playing with, because it just starts getting to the point where it's like, whoa, what is going to happen? And you get
You
excited.
don't want to see it fall.
Exactly, yeah. You don't want to be the one that makes it fall, but you still want to see it continue growing, so that for when it's your turn, you get that, added challenge.
All right.
Okay, so I will go for Gimme That. In this game, you have a piece of paper and you have to write down numbers from 1 to 100. The person that gets to 100 wins. However, there's only one pencil. Additional to that, you're going to be rolling a die and it tells you different actions that allows you to distract the person that is writing. And there's another one too that makes you rotate the sheet, but you continue writing onto the 100. So it's very fast. You're trying to win for yourself, but there's a lot of interaction with everyone else.
Mm-hmm.
And that excitement of trying to get the pencil, it's pretty fun. Can be dangerous, I guess. You can poke someone's eye, so it gets very intense.
I don't think so.
It hasn't happened, but I'm always thinking about that.
Maybe just bringing you back to your D&D story of popping eyeballs out. So for my next, it'll be Tinderblox. It's a small game, very simple rules, but the difficulty that you have with using these little tweezers that are not intentionally not the best quality tweezers, making the simple act of stacking bricks, these little wooden cubes, very difficult. Just seeing the other players struggle to lift these 1, 2 that you could easily just pick up with your fingers, and then just seeing them struggle over and over again, and just makes that laughter occur across the table. That's what I like about it.
Okay, so my next pick is going to be Flipships. So no reading required. It does have different ship sizes that each of them is going to have a different action, but because you're playing cooperatively, it just makes it easier to explain. But basically what you have is you have the mothership, which is like this box that is open at the top. You have a bunch of ships coming at you. And if they get to the end of the line, then they hurt you. And so what you're trying to do is to start flicking your ships, trying to get them to land in either of the ships that are coming at you, or to make the ultimate one, which is landing it into the mothership, which is very difficult to do. But sometimes it happens, and it creates a lot of excitement because you feel like you can do it. And it's just very unlikely that you're actually going to get it there. It's just chance, and it's just about flicking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That little bit of dexterity. So yeah, it makes that game fun. So for me, the last recommendation that I'm having here for new gamers is Tsuro. If you're into modern board gaming, it's, I guess, almost considered a classic game, at least from my perspective nowadays. They do have a couple of different versions, but overall, it's just that simplicity of the game and the almost artistic beauty of the game. It's very easy to teach, and it's just trying to find the path to be the last on the board. that experience of having people laying down tiles and not realize what they're interacting and how they're interacting with all the tiles that everyone else has played, seeing your person go all the way across the board and maybe even potentially knock yourself out of the game
Yeah.
without realizing it, I know has happened more than once. So it's very simple, easy concept to understand, but it's very engaging and has that sort of visual strategy of trying to follow a line around before you place your tile, making sure you've traced the lines appropriately and seeing whether you can lay that trap for another player that might interact with your tile. Although it's simple, there's that layer of strategy that you can engage very simply with different age groups and different players.
Mhm. Well, that's it for today. It was very hard actually to come up with this list because there's a lot of really great games out there. But we just picked the ones that we usually try to go for. Like again, just focusing on the simplicity and like we said at the beginning, just making it something that can be played with people that might not know the same language as the game, which makes it a little bit more open and friendly, right?
They're very accessible
Accessible.
to
Yeah.
any group. Yeah.
Mhm. Okay, well, I hope that if you have any of these games, that you get to introduce them to someone this long weekend. Or if you haven't heard of these games, maybe that's one that you might want to give it a try.